Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our journey in discovering one new Chinese expression a day. Yesterday, we talked about 四面八方. That's Chinese way to say 4 directions, and now layered on top of that, 8 further, finer cut directions. And actually, Chinese also combine 方 and 面. Have to in the sequence of 方 first. 方面 means aspects. So when we talk about aspects of things, different aspects, basically different dimensions of things, we use 方 and 面. And today we have 4 again in 四舍五入. Okay, I almost mispronounced it. There's no roll up of the tongue. 舍 is the one with the roll up. We use the H symbol as a language, as a pronunciation note to mean that when you see H, that means curl up of your tongue. So 舍, kind of like 肉 in Chinese, in English, right? English also have SH as the curl of the tongue. So Chinese too. So here is a 四. There's no 是, not a 是. It's a different one. So this one is 四. 四舍五入. This phrase, any elementary school students can tell you because this is the rule Chinese teacher coined together to drill how we do our roundings. If this is 4, so if after the decimal or whatever positioning, if you round up to the single digit, and this is 4, you are going to discard it. You're going to let it go, not round it up to the next number. If it's 5 and above, so we here intentionally bring out 4 and 5 because that's the blurring line, because 5 is the middle number between 0 and 10. So are we going to round it up or discard it? In this case, the universal mathematical rule is when it's 5, you're going to round it up to the next digit. So that's how it works. 四舍五入. Again, we have number 4. That's 4 vertical lines boxed in to make them one unit. And we have 5 that looks like 2 horizontal lines that looks like, I don't know the word for it, but it's kind of a stool, right? Side view of a type of stool. Or chair, that kind of standing like that with a knob up here. But this is heaven, this is earth. And in between, somebody draw an X so that the midpoint supposedly to meet over there. And that midpoint is the number 5. It's quite a geometrically sophisticated way. I guess not exactly sophisticated, but simple enough. But it's an interesting way to mark what's the midpoint between heaven and earth. Okay, and 舍, we have, well, 舍, I don't know everything about 舍. I only can tell you what overall it means. Here, it means a roof, right? This is a roof. And here, according to some scholars, this kind of a trident-looking symbol plus the mouse symbol, like over the mouse. So the mouse symbol, it's not a regular mouse, like a mouse symbol with a corners. That's a mouse. That's visually a mouse. This one looks like a block of something. According to scholars, this could be a block of some foundations of the architecture on top of it. And this trident-looking thing could be kind of a flags or the signs, because okay, in today's age, we're living in a consumer world, right? Branding, brands, brand awareness, all of that are full of our like visible space. Well, unless it's our private. I mean, even in private space, they're trying to get onto in front of your screen, right, to show you. So ancient times when we don't have that everywhere, kind of out of the door, out of home advertising method, this flags becomes the old way to show the brand. So some intricate pattern of that brand. on a piece of fabric, because probably fabric back then was most affordable but long-lasting enough to, and also it's moving, right? So it creates capture visual interest to be a good way to, as an outdoor sign, to attract new customers. So that was said to be the kind of a branding back then. So this turned out to be the hotel back then. So ancient times, most people are farmland workers. So they're basically tied to the land. They don't really be mobile. Only merchants are mobile. Merchants go with their goods to do transactions somewhere away from the source of good, right? That's how they make the difference. But travelers, if it's a small population of the small percentage of the population that travel, but when they do travel, such hotels with a roof like that, when you don't see a chimney, that means probably food was not provided. It's not a bed and breakfast. There's no breakfast there. Maybe there are, I don't know, I'm making it up, but we don't see a chimney over there because chimney was a symbol like this, was a symbol for domestic space. Somebody is cooking, preparing meal for you. So here, no chimney means it's not domestic place. And there was, according to scholars, this branding that's kind of a new customer. So it's a public commercial place. So it's hotel, comparable to today's hotel. So this hotel somewhat then become the concept to let go, to discard, to give up on something. And 舍 oftentimes in Chinese philosophy becomes this idea of letting go, this idea of you can depart from your past or whatever burdens you. You can almost like shed the skin. You can shed whatever was bothering you. And that's the concept of 舍. So I don't know how from this traveling hotel image that comes even connected to the sense of letting go, detachment. Maybe because travelers, when they travel from places to place, they have to be able to detach because they were not originally from any of the community they were traveling to. Everything is temporary. I mean, all of us, aren't they true? Like our life's journey is temporary. Whoever we met are just passengers that we came across during our life. In that lifespan scale, we can see everything. We have to be able to let go. But probably the sense of letting go, of sense of detachment, of sense of not belonging, you have to keep going, is especially strong for travelers like that. So that's why language creators use this hotel image to remind you you're only temporary here. It's temporary housing for you. It's not your family. You don't really have a community over here. Okay, that's my story. I hope it can make sense and help you remember. Okay, 入 isn't it interesting when we say 四舍 give up, number 4. If it's a 4 or smaller than 4, less than 4, we discard. But when it's 5 and above, they enter. We use enter. We don't use keep. We didn't say 四舍五留, but we say 四舍五入. I find that's an interesting language phenomenon that we use the 入 to enter. Because it basically you're going to bump up the 1 digit up into the next position, right? So if it's a 3.5, you're going to bump it up to 4, round it up to 4. So in a way, I guess, if you're 5 and above, even if you are the next decimal place, you can enter the bigger, rounder integer. I guess that's the logic of how come a language creators use 入 to signify here what it means to be 入, to enter the next, like a bigger, 10 times digit bigger unit, right? So, okay, 入. I said earlier that this was a chimney. It does look like this arch, this enclosure space with a chimney. But here, when it's not a symbol combined with other symbols, such as when we have the concept of home, we are going to have this chimney and arch paired with a symbol for domestic animal, which is pig. That's the most popular domestic animal over there in East Asia. That's the concept of home, because probably pigs are most valued property. You have to keep it underneath your household. So unless that, just by itself, it got abstracted into enter. So according to scholars, this pointed thing was not a chimney. This was intended to be a language indicator of that's a point. And this arch was the original space you are in. And with the pointy edge on the top, on the tip of this, you are going to puncture into a new space. That's how you can enter. You have to narrow the resistance, right? To become everything focused onto one point. That's how you can enter. Okay. 四舍五入 simply is every Chinese student's branded into the brain saying to teach us how to do the rounding. And I guess this rounding is kind of related to this dried up, empty skeleton, but intricately patterned fruit shell. This is a covering of a fruit. So what's inside was already rotten or gone, but this casing preserved and formed a good, nice contrast. So, I mean, so rounding is pretty abstract. You don't want me to show you a math there, right? So this rounding, this is the rounding, the curve from nature. That's what I use here. All right, cash into the currency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.